All right, welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. This is your host, Deontay, with my friends Jalen and Josh. Today we have quite a few topics, but just before we jump right into it, I did want to just ask you guys, how are you currently doing as of now? Pandemic, how's it going? How's your day?
You ain't have to ask. I appreciate that. Not just playing. No, it was smooth, man. I just been trying to execute a healthy lifestyle while in the midst of school or whatever. I feel like I need something to cling to and have like a more tangible goal that I'm reaching towards rather than just waiting over like 2 years or whatever. So I just been starting to like get back to like working out and stuff like that, and just trying to make sure I'm staying on the grind with like PA school and stuff like that. Because like I said before, they got brothers in the field, man.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. How about you, Josh?
Um, I've had a lot of downtime over the past couple months, but they're trying to get people back out in the world, get back stuff back normal. So I'm just trying to keep up with the pace of things. Work, got me doing a lot, and I'm getting ready for school. So trying to keep up.
Yeah, same. Still nervous to go out and try to get stuff done, but I want to see my family. So it's a weird space. I definitely get where Jalen's coming from. I know trying to find something tangible that's you see progress in. So I get that as well. So, I mean, keep your head up like your nose bleeding. We gonna all get through this. Uh, but
Screaming.
we got some topics for you today. Get the serious topics out the way, but more so just talking about a few things we want to talk about. So we want to talk about the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X delays and price and thoughts around that. We recently had the DC fandom, and we kind of want to go over the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League trailer, as well as the Batman Gotham Knights gameplay. As well as the final thing we're going to wrap it up with is just our top 5 favorite games for this generation, which should be interesting with the fanboy, with the Square Enix people. They tend to fall in that camp, but hopefully they got some different they got some different games than Square Enix in general. But
Yeah.
uh,
But man, hopefully you got some different games aside from Microsoft.
man,
Not just
ain't nothing on this Microsoft. Ain't nothing on my list, Microsoft, bro. I can tell you that's for a fact. But
yeah.
You got Days Gone on there.
days gone. Oh my god, stop it. But
He
just
got
to start
what's that
off,
game? Recore.
no man, none of them games made the list, bro. Them not top 5 of this generation. We had 7 years. You think Recore made it? I played that game
Tell
for
him what you.
total 30 minutes. But starting off, I guess we can start with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, and like guys' thoughts around the price right now and them not actually saying anything, and it's almost 2 months out. Pretty much. I know November is the month for Xbox, and we still ain't really got no price. What y'all think about that?
Um, I think that they're taking too long because during this time, like they announce the price, people start pre-ordering, and these consoles are most likely going to sell out in the beginning because they're hard to find because it's not enough of them.
Mhm.
So the longer that they hold on to this price, the harder they make it for people who want to buy the system. So if Xbox coming out November, they got 2-3 months to figure out how many pre-orders they got and get them to stores. So they really just need to hurry up and come out with whatever the price is because we already know they're expensive.
Yeah, yeah. What you think, Jalen?
So I hate to say it, I gotta agree with Josh. Not just playing. Nah, but I agree with Josh. They taking too long. I mean, somebody like me, I mean, it's already September, bro. Summer over. Like we finna step in the fall. Um, we don't even know how much them joints cost, so it's just kind of like, I don't really. They just need to, stop playing with people, man. I ain't, I ain't trying to play with them, bro. They just need to tell me how much that mug gonna cost. Tell me how much money I need to set aside, and I need to figure out if I'm gonna get it or not. Like simple as that. So
I think it's more so them trying not to get one upped like they did last time, and PlayStation trying to keep their their base. They really don't want. They're both scared at this point. Obviously, PlayStation is scared to lose the amount of support and people that actually purchase their console this generation, and Microsoft is scared to get the same, be in the same situation that they are in now, where they're getting outsold 2-1 when it comes to PlayStation versus Xbox. So this is not something that ever happens, and it's more than likely not going to be the last time it happens, because it's more so about the market share and how they're going to get people on board with their consoles. So I think they're honestly trying to keep the crowd with them, and it makes total sense. But at this point, nobody knows how much you guys are trying to charge for these consoles, so they can't, price point their stuff. They can't put money away. When the PlayStation 4 came out, they got announced in June, and pre-orders went up like 2 days later. So people had from June to such and such to get their money, put their money down and start putting money away to actually purchase these consoles. Now it seems as if they're banking on people just being repurchasing customers and not caring about, actually saving and getting to the point. It's a whole pandemic and people don't know how much this thing costs. People can't plan out for it. You only going to give me 2 months to kind of get the money together to get this console. I think it's going to showcase that in their sales. I think it's going to still sell out because I think they're going to have a limited amount of supply. But I think it's going to showcase the attach rate immediately, because they, as of now, haven't given anybody much time to kind of put their money aside to buy these consoles. It is a luxury item, and people, it's not a necessity. It's kind of like a luxury thing. It's like, so I can't put too much fault to people not having the money for it or not being able to afford it. But I'm saying, I think what's going to happen is they're going to play this game of chicken for too long, to the point where it's going to make it seem as it's going to just be bad for the consumer in general, where they're not going to be able to know, nor are they going to be able to plan for it. So it's weird. I agree with both. I agree with both of you saying the same thing. It's just a weird situation, and I think that Microsoft has more to lose at this point. I think if PlayStation overcharges people, people going to still buy it. I think Microsoft has the more to lose because they don't have the player base. And if they kind of mess it up out the gate, they're not going to be able to restore that. So it's already broken now. So if they do that and mess up, and that price ain't right, and it's like, I don't want to pay for this even if it is the more powerful one, because you don't got no games anyway. I think they're so scared of that happening that they are actually telling out the price. And I don't understand the whole let's keep the Series S a secret, unless they're trying to use that as a tactic. They don't want to actually showcase the power of it, so that way it's not something that, PlayStation can price point towards. They can't know how much the actual price is, because they don't know how actual powerful the console is. So if, PlayStation is trying to compete, they may be undercut significantly by the S, and that's why they haven't released it or showcased it yet, even though it's the worst kept secret in the world. So I think that's what their kind of plan is right now, and that's my thoughts behind it. It's more tactical than anything. It's bad for the consumer, but I think it's a tactical way of keeping people invested, or people, keeping that, trying to, gain that investment into the company. So it's interesting. It's never happened before. This is weird that they don't have any price points or nothing like that out. But I mean, what can you really do? It's not nothing you can do at this point. We can just take it and wait for them to actually, grow up.
I guess the S is gonna be the only saving grace for them, because if they can have, cheaper console than the PS4, PS5, but it still offers good performance, then that's going to be able to keep them going for the long run. And people who want, the best graphics, whatever, they'll get the X. But also with such a short time, they have less time to sell people on the product regardless of the price, because if they came out 2 months ago and they said it's $600 and the other one is $400, even though it's a higher price point, now you have 5-6 months to come out with like, these are the games, this is what they look like on the system, and why it's that $600 price. Whereas the longer they wait, so far they haven't shown anything that justifies it. And so when they do have that price, they don't have the marketing to back it up. And if they do, they only have 3 months to get it together to show why these consoles are expensive. Whereas Sony, even if they come in at the middle price point or whatever, if they have like a decent lineup, people have an idea, I guess, of what it is, they'll be more okay with spending that money.
Yeah, no, that makes that makes a lot of sense. But I just, yeah. I mean, I'm worried about them actually shooting themselves in the foot by trying to release two different consoles, and they're pigeonholing themselves to now be able to, they can't manage to make games great because they're now trying to, build for this subpar machine as well as this very powerful machine. And
Mm-hmm.
at this point, the consoles aren't ready to be PCs yet. Even though Xbox is certainly trying to make that happen, they're not ready to be PCs yet because they're not marketed as a PC. You can't do as much and you're not as versatile as a PC. So when it comes to functionality, games and fidelity and value are most important. And the most important thing is to always have the best of the product. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like them basically saying that they're going to have this Series S and this Series X, and they're going to have two different spectrums of quality, causes a rift in their player base as well as the rift in their developers base. So it's kind of hard for me to say that this is a great thing for them to do. I think what PlayStation is doing is the actual smarter thing. I think because they're only doing it where one's discless and one's not, and they actually have the same capabilities, it makes it so much easier for them to market that, as well as it makes it easier for them to get that buy-in, because you're not going to get the less of value console, nor are you going to be pigeonholed into creating two different games for the same platform because one has less is weaker than the other. Now, if the Series S comes in and is just as powerful as the X, and it's really not only thing that's the different is that it's discless or something like that, then that will be fine. But that's not looking like the case. It looks like they have different internals that's going to cause it to actually not be on par with the X, and that kind of throws me through a loop. I think that's not the smart thing, and maybe they're trying to push back on that. Maybe they don't want to release the S no more. Maybe they understand that that's a problem, but in my eyes, I think they kind of want to be consumer friendly to the max, and being that consumer friendly, they probably want to give you two options, which is going to cause them to kind of lose money, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my question, would be to Jalen on this. Do you think that when that next generation happens, do you care? Because I know you really just want to spend the least amount of money that you have to, because it's not that I guess it's not like that necessity, but it's more so something you are interested in. Do you feel like having two versions of the same game and having a weaker and a higher end is beneficial to a platform, or do you feel like having like a singularity and common place when it comes to the platforms is that better? What would you gravitate more towards if it was like, if pricing was like 200 difference from the weaker versus the bigger, and then
Yeah,
kind
or
of having
even
that
with like
PlayStation
the
5 portion?
PS4 and the PS4 Pro, like, with the new system or something like that, would you go for the bigger or better system if you could or save $200 and get the cheaper one?
So basically, you sound like basically how the PS4, I mean the PS5 or the router, whatever you want to call it, not just flying, but how the PS5 got the same. It's two different versions. However, they're the same, but the Xbox got a lesser and a higher version. That's what you're saying, right? Like which one would I prefer?
Yeah.
Granted, you know the price difference and things like that. I think honestly, for me, it depends on how much it costs. Because like, so if it's anything like, I mean, I guess just a general rule of life, whatever you pay for, you pay for what you get. So, I did get the PS4 Pro when it first came out, just because like I knew how the PS4 was running. Um, just during the like duration of his life and stuff like that. Like some games like made it heat up or not heat up, but like you just hear that fan moving violently or whatever. I don't like when fans move fast because I feel like it's like a compensatory like mechanism.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you get a cheaper version of something, unless they know how to optimize it or have like a different setting in the game where it's not pushing that the console boundaries and stuff like that. I mean, I'll probably just get the more expensive one. I just bite the bullet. I mean, if it's gonna be $100 or $200, I mean, if it's gonna last me a lot longer, stay with the times and stuff a lot better and stuff, I'll probably just make that investment just simply because, I mean, you get a half baked version just to save a couple of dollars on the front end, but who knows what you have to pay for in the lower end and
Back
what I'm saying, yeah, like later down the line. So prime example was I had bought an Xbox Arcade. That joint was $200. I could have spent $100 more to get a Pro or something like that. Do you know how much them hard drives and stuff was on for the Xbox, bro? I'm like, man, I should have just got the arcade. I mean, it was nice, so I could put it on like layaway per se. You know what I'm saying? I could get the arcade, play the games a little bit, and work my way up because I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I'm in high school. I ain't had bandos and nothing like that. But it was, I was just kind of like, it'd have been straight. I didn't need to get the elite, but I was like, I could have got the pro instead of the arcade or whatever. So, but anyways, I don't think they could justify enough of a price difference to get a half baked console, and I don't know if they're gonna run into some technical issues or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean that's my answer with it. Like I said, I bought the PS4 Pro when it first came out. Granted, I was running eBay schemes, you know what I'm saying, all the Jack Welch and all that, you know what I'm saying. But it's just easier to just pay for it up front and just deal with it, later on or whatever. Only other thing I can say is like when it do come out, maybe they're gonna have like an enhanced version of Xbox, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna come out the super Xbox Series X or something like that. So, but yeah.
Yeah,
Later down the line.
that makes sense. And I'm glad you kind of said that and had that example because that does. So I would say you can appreciate the lower entry level, but for them to, I think more so because the arcade and the other one wasn't fundamentally different in that way. They only had like hard drive space, and it was certain things that kind of was lax versus it being like a totally different experience. You know what I'm saying?
Chrome disc,
Like
right?
coming straight up, and it's like off the straight off of that. It's kind of like it makes me feel as if I'm already not jumping all full next gen. I'm in this mid gen tier. So I'm kind of nervous about what that kind of experience will do to what kind of do to the average consumer. They feel like they're not getting the best fidelity, and they feel like I should have just got a PlayStation 5 for this. I don't know where that price point sits for the Series S that will cause people to forget about them having a lesser than console. And that's why I was thinking maybe the X and maybe a something smaller, but not in the least amount less capable of the X. So that's why I was trying to figure out if this would hinder them, or will it make it, actually, will this work in their favor? This kind of mid generation leap again from the Xbox One X. So it's going to be Xbox One X being replaced by this Series S. It's going to be a little bit more powerful, but it's not going to be the X. And that's what kind of worries me. It's going to be something that you now have to work on, you have to work for. You obviously can see what it did to Halo Infinite, where they was having to work on the Xbox One version and the Xbox One Series X version. It causes it to where it doesn't look next gen. So would that be the same case for all the previous games once they come out on the Series S and stuff like that? Maybe they scrap it. Maybe that's why they're not talking about it, because they probably scrapped it. Or maybe they are going to come out with it. Maybe that's going to be the next big thing. Maybe they just go with the route of, PlayStation 5 and they just do one without a disc. And that causes them a better situation than what they currently have now. That's what I'm thinking about. And your point is, valid, where people don't have the funds to kind of go there. But I think people would more so gravitate to the stronger consoles simply because they want to. Most of the time when you're purchasing new technology, you want to future proof it. You want to make sure that it's going to work and work well for a very long time, and it's not going to become less than. And that's why you buy a console, because you know it's going to be in a generation for quite some time. These mid generations, recently just came to the forefront, but it never happened before. So I think them overshooting our expectations and trying to get to 120 frames per second makes me feel like at least this technology is going to be around for at least another 5 years before it's replaced by something else, versus the Series S already feeling like a lesser than already out the gate, kind of like the Xbox One when it first came out, and the PlayStation 4 was so much better. Now I feel like this Series S is going to hit that same mark. But what is the price difference that's going to cause me to actually want to jump to that versus the X? And obviously, no specs have been announced, but that's where my head space is when it comes to that, and whether or not it's going to be worth it in the long run.
Yeah, no, that's all valid, man. I mean, like you said, I think the most important thing was the price points. I know we talked about the price points and stuff like that. You got, you got all type of memes going on Facebook. I'm pretty sure some people are, but it's different when it's actually presented in front of your face. All right, we need to start saving. But the other thing, future proofing, bro. When I remember when I was working at Best Buy, dog. Mind you, it's 2013. End of 2013, the iPhone 5S came out. The iPhone 4S came out in 2011, at the end of 2011, and people was just you had the people in there, they yeah, I just want an iPhone. I'm don't get this iPhone 4S. Basically, I was telling them it's a dated device. Basically, it's not future proof, and don't get it. You have people that get it, and then you have people that just go gravitate and get the 5S. So it's I guess it depends on what people needs and stuff like that, but personally, I ain't trying to get clowned. But man, you got that half big Xbox, man. You got that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to. They put you on that girl, man. So, but yeah, bro. So I mean, that's my take with it.
Yeah.
I don't really know, man. I feel like it's too much in the air, and we don't know what they trying to do, and you know what I'm saying. But yeah.
Any final thoughts on that, Josh?
Yeah, same thing with Jalen said with the phones and stuff. I think there's a lot of people that just go for the cheapest price that's available right away, but in the long run, they might end up regretting it. So for me, I know that I don't need the best PS4 or whatever. I'll get whatever I can get, save a couple dollars. But in the long term, I will start to feel that that difference in strength. If I got it on this one, it has a better frame rate or higher resolution. So these issues that I'm dealing with, if I would have put the money up front, then I wouldn't have that issue. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's just really, I guess, impulse buyers who just want an Xbox for a cheap price. But for most people, the more powerful console is probably going to be the better option.
Yeah, I think that in the whole situation with developers and how they create for these consoles is really gonna be interesting to see, and whether or not they actually try to get the most out of the console, or whether they just drop the resolution and everything else is the same. Still causes a rift, but maybe it's not a significant rift. So we'll see how they implement that and whether or not it's a good implementation or if it's a bad implementation. But next topic we wanted to talk about was, I think we would probably leave the top fives to later, but it was the Batman, the not the Batman. I keep saying Batman because that's the biggest character. It should have been just Batman anyway because it was so much crazy Batman stuff. But it was the DC fandom, and yeah. So there's two games that came out. The one from Rocksteady and then the one from the Warner Brothers. The Rocksteady one was just a teaser trailer, so no real gameplay. And then we had the actual gameplay for Arkham Knights. Give me your thoughts on Arkham Knights first.
You mean Gotham Knights?
Gotham Knights, sorry. Arkham Gotham Knights. I don't know. That's what I thought it said. IGN got me tripped up.
Yeah, Gotham Knights seems cool. I'm happy that they at least have gameplay of it so I can make a better decision on it. Because it's still like the Arkham games, like Batman, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. So that gameplay that you're familiar with, but they're making it co-op with some like RPG and leveling up mechanics and stuff like that. It seems okay. I might try it out. Me personally, I'm not that excited for it because the Arkham games were good, but that style of gameplay I'm kind of like over with because I play with Batman, I play with Robin, and all of them a lot now, so it's just more of that. But if it's a good game at the end of the day and the co-op and stuff is fun, then I might try it out. But it looked okay. It was like a 10-minute gameplay demo, and I feel like it gave a good impression. The funny thing is, I thought what they showed of that, even though it might not come out soon, looked a lot better than the Avengers game. So I feel like DC is getting that better.
Yeah, you love
Yeah.
that game, bro.
I was just about to. I was going to mention that because it's definitely their answer to the Square Enix Crystal Dynamics Marvel's Avengers. That's definitely the answer. But yeah.
Hold on. I forgot Square Enix did make the Avengers. I need to really play that game now, huh?
Man, yeah, you funny. Did you watch the trailer or the gameplay at all, Jalen?
Yeah, I seen it. I mean, it's like Josh said, man. I don't know if they gonna be having. I forgot, man. What they had, you hit the triangle button or something every time somebody is swinging at you, and you would just dodge it and you
Yeah,
just beat them up after you're doing that, man. Like Josh said, man. I'm a little
over the
that
gameplay.
system a little bit dated, man. Like I've been doing that since when I had the Xbox Arcade I mentioned about, man, on Arkham. What is it, Arkham Asylum? I'm like,
Yeah,
man, I'm pressing the Y button. You know what I'm saying? Hit him with a little razzle dazzle, and then you just punch him. Like, I don't know if I feel like doing that. I think it's cool that they got like a little bit of like RPG elements added to it. You know what I'm saying? Put a little like spice on it or whatever. But hey, the last game I played, that single player, and they switched it to like RPG mechanics. UNITY. That Assassin's Creed Unity, boy. That I, bro, I had to get rid of that game quick, bro. I was like, nigga, bro, I was in that mode like, dang, man, I really bought this game, bro. Like, I'm sick. But nah, just that game, I don't know, man. I seen them fighting Mr. Freeze. It seemed like they was trying to incorporate like, I don't know if it was like status stuff or whatever, but I don't know, man. If you finna be pressing triangle and stuff, I ain't playing that much. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't playing with them, so don't play with me.
yeah, yeah, man. I feel the same. I came away unimpressed, but I felt as if it was just. I felt as if they were just trying something different, something that's like online and stat base, because you saw the level 10s and stuff like that, and you getting stronger. And they were talking about how these game fights and like the fights that you actually, the boss fights get different as you go up in tiers of level. And it felt like a grind that wasn't interesting to me, to be honest. It felt as if it was kind of like Marvel's Avengers grind, where it was like, okay, you're playing with these cool guys, you got it, but what is unique about this experience, or what can we do within that experience that kind of showcases those characters in a strong way, outside of you're just fighting with them and pressing triangle and square to do attacks. That's what my whole thing about that is what can you do that's unique. Obviously it was test stuff, and that indicator for your friend always just being on screen was like, they need to code that out. but that bug was going sporadic as I was watching. I'm like, bro, can you get this Robin Hood indicator off the screen? That bug was going around and around and around. I was watching that more than I was watching the gameplay. I'm like, man, get this thing off the screen. But obviously it's still like test footage or whatever, but I don't know. I wasn't impressed by it. It seemed as if they did a lot of work on the graphics, but graphics ain't gonna really do it for me this time around. I need something a little bit more razzle dazzle, as Jalen said. It didn't have anything that I felt as if was interesting or unique. It was just seemed as if you were able to play with Batgirl and all the other characters, Robin, Nightwing, and I wasn't interested, to be honest. I felt as if I already had that experience. Now to have a full game with them and taking down enemies, I don't see the unique aspect of it. So that's kind of how I left it. Avengers and that kind of fall into the same bucket for me. Interesting looking, but not that interesting to play. So hopefully they showcase some new stuff that kind of really, makes it understand why this is the game you need to play with these characters, with this, with this story. Maybe it's very unique. Maybe how you play it is unique. Maybe there's some good set pieces. I'm not interested in seeing another Batman or, these characters have a story with multiplayer in it. I don't see how that's appealing at this point. Not to disrespect their hard work. They do make good Nemesis systems. Maybe they have a Nemesis system in this. Maybe they something that they incorporate, like from Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War, where they have this factions where you kind of use that. Maybe that's their unique thing. But if that's the only unique thing, I don't know. I don't think that's going to make it. But it was very cool when they did it in Shadow of Mordor, where you had these, you can, recruit people and do this and that. But I don't see how that plays into the world of Batman, honestly. I see that they could probably do factions with all of the different enemies and their grunts or whatever. But I don't see how that kind of ties in well to what they're trying to do with Arkham Knights. But it could possibly be that could be the unique spin on it that they kind of use to their advantage. They have the technology, they have the background in it, so they could possibly make something like that. Maybe that's the interesting thing, but that's not enough for me to play it. I'll still check it out. I'm not going to be that person that doesn't, but I'm not thrilled or excited for it in any type of way. But that Suicide Squad, though, it was a teaser trailer, but it had more flavor, in my opinion, than that whole Arkham Knight demo. And it seemed like a cool concept that they already kind of showcased, that we're gonna actually kill the Justice League, and that's in the title. So right off bat, I'm like, I'm in for it. I don't want to be the good guy anymore. Maybe playing the bad people is more interesting than the good people. Since Suicide Squad is kind of anti-hero type of villain. It's like that's kind of how it is. They're in a bad situation, but they're not terrible people, most of them, but they still are. So those characters, that breaking off from that, Batman thing and kind of stepping into a totally different, not location, but totally different mindset for the player. I feel like that's way more unique than what Arkham Knight brought, but even though it was just a teaser trailer. So I'm way more excited for Rocksteady's game. Obviously, Rocksteady does everything they do. They do it with a lot of care and thought behind what they do. So I'm looking forward to seeing more gameplay of that because their concept and overall was much more interesting for me to see than actual Arkham or Gotham Knight. Was it Gotham or Arkham Knights?
Gotham.
I don't know. It's one of those
Garbage nights. Not just playing.
you played it,
I'm
Jay.
playing.
You already called it garbage.
I'm just playing.
With the Suicide Squad, like you said, the idea and the tone of it seemed interesting, and that you're fighting the Justice League, because Brainiac was in the trailer too, so obviously the Justice League is evil now because of Brainiac, so you're gonna have to fight them, and that's more interesting than the Arkham games, which we're familiar with, where you go to detective mode and you check stuff out and you counter people. At least with this setup, they can have a different style of gameplay, and you'll be fighting more superheroes because like Superman can fly and throw buildings, so that's very different than what happens in the Batman games. And
Yes.
Rocksteady, they've always been very, very good developers. Like they very detailed. The worlds and everything are very interesting. So I feel like they'll do the material justice, and it'll be interesting. The only thing is, it's a 4-player co-op game, so I don't know how they fit the
Ew.
world and story in that. If
I
it's
didn't know
single
that.
player, but yeah, that's why they have the 4 characters, like it's Deadshot, Harley, and everybody. I don't know if you can play single player and your friend jump in, or if it's only 4-player co-op, but it's a 4-player focused game. Another thing that kind of bummed me out is in the trailer it says 2022, so that game is not coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, that
They
did.
probably gonna delay it, so 2023.
Dang.
Well, that is very true. Arkham Knights came with gameplay. They know they ready. At least to 2021, they will be ready. They just got to refine a few things. So I appreciate them showing actual gameplay. But I just wish their concept may have been just a little bit different in how they approached it. But I understanding that that's a game that people want too. But you're right. I didn't know that it was 4-player co-op though. That kind of sours it a little bit. I want a single player game where you kind of just face off against Justice League. Maybe a single player game or maybe a 4-player co-op game isn't bad. Maybe it's more focused and you're just kind of playing like a Borderlands kind of thing where you can drop in, drop out, but it's not as detrimental to the story. But I don't know. I never did that or never seen that kind of work in that way outside of was it 4-player co-op for Gears, or could you play 2-player co-op online?
I think it was 2. The closest thing to that is like a Monster Hunter game. Like you can play by yourself and your friend jump in to fight the boss, whatever.
And you kind of
Where
build a world. It's like a whole that concept is going to be interesting.
yeah, because it's difficult because like if you're, let's say it's probably gonna be an open world game because they always do open world games. Um, but you have the issue where you want to go fight Superman and you can fight him by yourself. But is he too hard for a single person? So you have to have 4 people. Where so I got to get y'all online, or I got to play with randoms and stuff like that. It's just too many complications. Whereas if it's a single player game, it you can remove all those barriers and just go enjoy the game at your own pace.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm nervous about that. I guess I'm nervous about that part of it. Where now we're how are they going to implement this 4 player co-op? I didn't know that they were actually doing that. To be honest, I thought it was going to be single player. You're going to be able to play with all these characters. You're going to be able to take down the Justice League. It doesn't hinder my excitement for the story because it just seems fun. It seems like a fun experience to have where you're literally trying to take down and kill the Justice League. This is a group of people that's supposed to be trying to save humanity, and that's that. Now you're such a you're in that space of trying to kill them and using their. I hope they implement some type of like using their weaknesses against them and kind of taking them on like that. I really want to see that where they delve into it a lot more and kind of just showcase how how deep the roots are of this DC universe and how they can show off the small and refined things, small details, kind of make the whole story up, and I think that's gonna be the game I gravitate way more towards than Arkham or Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
So, what you think about that, Jalen? Did you watch that trailer?
Yeah, I watched it. I mean, first off, Superman garbage anyway. That man been getting flexed since the '50s, so I don't probably before that. So whooping him ain't gonna be nothing. They real challenge gonna be Batman. You know what
Oh
I'm
my
saying?
god.
Cause Superman garbage. But
Billionaire baby with just his tech. I don't know, bro. Uh,
man,
the
Superman garbage, bro. He been getting work. Then he get killed in like what's that game called? Injustice or something like that.
you talking about the Gods Among Us game? Yeah, man.
Man, yeah,
Uh,
garbage amongst us. Ain't that what that game was called?
Gods Among Us.
Man, it sounded like you said basura. But nah, I mean, no, the game, the concept. I mean, I feel like the Suicide Squad is always like a is like an interesting group. I'm not like a huge DC fan, or really superheroes for that matter. But anywho, I think it'd be interesting. I did see Suicide Squad. I didn't really keep up with Suicide Squad or anything like that, like in the comic books or anything. But the movie was definitely good. It was funny to have that anti-hero approach, but it's kind of like they're not. They're like false anti-heroes. Like they're doing it to what I'm saying, lower
Save
they sentence or
themselves.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not really like, yeah, I'm about to be an anti-hero today and do something. I'm trying to save somebody. Like they're just working for themselves. Like so, I feel like knowing that in the back of my head, I don't know how they operate. You know what I'm saying, like in a video game or in the comics and things like that. But like Deontay said, the fact that you're going against Superman or Garbage Man, whatever you want to call that man, he you know, he it just seemed like an interesting concept where you can play, but I don't know if it's gonna be like Skaglands where you just what I'm saying, like you gotta have four
He's talking
people to
about
kill Handsome
Borderlands.
Jack. Man, Garbage Land, Skaglands, Handsome Jack Lands, whatever you want to call it,
Everything
man.
garbage.
Like,
That's his Square Enix. I'm sick of this guy.
dude, we not finna talk about Sleepy Lands because that
Oh
game,
my
that
god.
game definitely put me to sleep. I don't care. I don't drink coffee, but if you took like 10 cups of coffee and you played that game, bro, it's a wrap. You finna go straight to sleep. I give you 10 minutes tops, maybe five.
Oh
But
yeah. Okay.
uh, yeah, that 4 player though, I don't really know how I feel about that. Just because I don't know how. I had issues with Borderlands when I did play it when you didn't play with like 4 people and play with one person, and the difficulty spikes was just kind of weird. Um, but yeah, so.
Yeah. We have to wait and see. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be interesting. I think it's definitely the concept is interesting enough on its own merit, and that's what I like about it most. And then I know Rocksteady is a type of company that definitely does not take for granted the material they have in front of them when it comes to everything like Batman, Arkham Knight. I mean, well, Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum, and Arkham City all kind of took a lot of flavor from the comics and tried to put that into the game in a lot of different ways, a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of things like that. So I don't think that they're going to do it I don't think they're gonna do it wrong. I just want them to. I want to understand exactly how that 4-player co-op is going to work out, and but the teaser trailer got me excited for it, and they didn't even have to show no gameplay. I want gameplay, but obviously it's a 2022 game. Everybody can't have everything they want, so I get that. So, but I'm excited for it. Any last thoughts on the DC fandom? I know the Suicide Squad trailer for the movie that's coming out, the reboot with James Gunn, that looked at fire too. But I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Yeah, that looked good. They haven't come out with like a full trailer. I want to see what it's about. They talked about it like it's a war movie, and they're doing a lot of new stuff with it. It seems interesting, and they're a lot more. What did they say? He wants more characters than the first Suicide Squad movie, but they're more comic book based. Like if you look at their costumes, they look weird and silly because that's what they are in the comic book. So it seems like it's going to be more. It's just a better tone overall. Gritty, but also like funny. Like you can laugh at them or laugh at what they're doing, because James Gunn is always good at that, making like an R-rated, bloody comedy type movie. But I guess for me, the only thing that I saw that was interesting beyond that was Batman. So I thought that looked really good.
Yeah.
A lot of other movies are kind of like far off where they don't have a lot of trailers or anything like that. But Batman had a good trailer. They have a clear vision of what they want to do for it, and it seems very different from the last 5 Batman movies we've had recently.
Yeah, and the Snyder cut and all that stuff. I think they look like they're trying to get their mojo back because they know it's a huge business. So I'm glad they putting in the effort. And they're trying to get fans excited for it. I think Suicide Squad. I think most of the people are gonna die, but it's gonna be funny, and I think it's gonna be hilarious how they die. But it was way too many characters, way too many big names for them to keep going on with them. Most of them gonna die. I guarantee you that. Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn ain't dying, but everybody else, they expendable, which is gonna be fun to watch. But I liked what I saw, and I'm glad that they're trying to keep everybody excited about this stuff because they have the base, and they have the backlog to do some really good stuff with their comics. So hopefully they do it. Hopefully it executes well, and having a Suicide Squad movie come out and then that game come out, they do that movie right, can really boost their sales significantly. So I think it's gonna be cool. But next up, just in this for the sake of time, let's talk about those those top 5 boys for this generation. And what's the
You want to start it out, Jalen? Because if we got any overlap, it's best to get it out the way.
Man, y'all want to know my top 5, man. Y'all really want to know my top 5? You don't want to know my top 5. Not just playing. Nah, so y'all, I got some honorable mentions on here. Nah, I think
guarantee 4 Square Enix games. All right, go.
They ain't even had that many games come out. Nah, but shoot, I just say my top 5. These not in any order by any means. It'd be Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Absolute fire. Y'all know we talked about it a couple of times. Fire. FYRE. Fire. Not just fire. Okay, gotta mention Final Fantasy VII. Ooh, that game was... No, let me get in Punisher mode, boy. We a chop. We finna chop. But
Think about that game today. Can't wait to replay it on PS5.
I'm telling you.
Both of y'all annoying.
I'm gonna play that mug again. Nah, I got Persona 5 on there. That
Trash.
game, it was. I had a good time playing it, so I'm gonna put it up there. Like I actually think I beat that game in a month, and I was trying to play it, but as soon as I finished with school, I think I ended up beating it. Like it literally took me like a month to beat, and I had put like 100 hours in that game. So I was going dumb with the hours. Um, I'm trying to think. I'm kind of stuck between a few. I had put like Bloodborne up there. I like Bloodborne for what it was, but it was kind of like I don't know, man. It's a good game to play. Like it's definitely an excellent game. I don't think it aged the best though, as far as like the PS5 goes. I mean PS4 goes, but it didn't age the best. And then let me see, that's 3, 6, 7. How many games I say?
Final
I like
Fantasy
Dark Souls
7.
3. Yeah, I'm over here saying I'll probably say my fifth one would probably be my top five would be Breath of the Wild, Dark Souls 3, Final Fantasy 7, Persona, and Sekiro. Um, I know my boys ain't like Sekiro like that, but man, so that them boss battles in that game, man, like Sekiro gave me the adrenaline of what Bloodborne boss battles was, except it didn't some. So like Bloodborne was an intense game. You know, you have to. It wasn't as many ways to skin the cat as you could in Dark Souls 3. Like you can skin the cat in multiple different ways. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can play it this and that. But Sekiro, boy, you just have to be super hot fire in that mug because that last boss, man, I was probably fighting that last boss for probably about. I remember one night, bro. I was I was fighting him from like it had to be like 10 o'clock to like 3 a.m. and I still ain't beat him. I had to go to bed on the L, bro. I'm like, man, it's getting too late, bro. He keep bodying me, bro. Like I'm gonna whoop him tomorrow morning, man. So he was definitely giving me the blues, but it was just the intensity of them boss battles and stuff. I didn't 100% it or nothing like that because I didn't want to take the time to get real expertise at the mechanics and stuff like that. It was just like that. You just had a lot of adrenaline with that game. And then a game that I'm gonna say like an honorable mention. I know y'all probably hate this game, but Destiny 1, bro. Man, we used to go dumb in the trials, man. Don't get us started
Oh
with the
my
House of
god.
Wolves. Y'all want me to get the spirit bomb, do y'all? We used to be in that. We used to be in the Black Shield going crazy, boy.
Oh
We was
my
a
god.
man. Them was the days, dude. That was probably some of the best Destiny days, bro. That's where we got our name from, House of Wolves, man. We was in that mug getting busy. Triple boy walkers, boy, we come through and straight kami your ass. Don't make me,
Don't make me get the
man.
spirit ball.
I'm telling you, dude,
Man.
come too straight, man. But yeah, that's my take, bro. Them was some good days, man. That's probably some of the best multiplayer days. Playing that Death Dog,
Yeah.
That's dog. That's dog. That's dog. That's dog. Yeah.
That's dog. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. I mean, uh, you took Bloodborne off or you leaving it on?
Yeah. So,
You took.
so my top five would be Breath of the Wild, Dark Souls 3, Final Fantasy 7, Persona 5, and Sekiro.
Do you think Dark Souls 3 did more for you than Dark Souls 2? Or wait, well, Dark Souls 2 came out on PlayStation 3, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. Okay, never mind. I thought I forget because I was like, I know you like that game more, even though it was Glitch Souls.
Hmm.
Um,
Man. Yeah.
Persona 5. Walk me through that. What was that decision behind that?
It was just a game where I was able to invest a lot of time in. It was interesting. I found myself wanting to I just wanted to play it and see what happened next to the story. I will say about 80% of the game pretty much hits its climax.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like yeah, it basically hits its climax. I mean, the game got another climax and stuff, but it was just kind of like a lot of like out the behind Deus Ex Machina, like it just got off course, and that's my biggest gripe with the game. But throughout playing Persona 5, it has some weak points. Don't get me wrong. This is just like games of the generation. I got games that's higher than this, but I mean, if you want to get real technical, I mean, Pokemon Emerald could be up there because that game was fire. But Nah, but yeah, Persona 5, it was a cool game. It was like an RPG I was definitely invested in. Like it caught a lot of my attention. I liked it, the world and stuff like that. Like I said, it had some low points, but I mean, I played that game. Like I think a lot of the motivator was the fact that like I had a DLC persona is a Nagi Picaro, and I just wanted to I just liked it to how you can like do the little guillotine and all that type of stuff, and like the fusion and different things to like make your persona better, and then how you can meld abilities and stuff to them. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So yeah, I mean I liked it, and it was a lot to do most of the days. Obviously there's a perfect way to play the game or whatever, but I wanted to see what happened in some of the character stories next, and I put a lot of time in to make sure things was better off, and instead of just like jacking off my days and stuff like that.
Okay.
So
So
it's just an interesting game.
okay. Nah, that's a I say decent list. And it's a few
One Square Enix.
It's a few scrubs on there. It ain't Square Enix heavy, so
Man, what's the scrub on her?
I appreciate that, huh?
What's the scrub on her?
In my opinion, I go with I mean,
Don't say
it's
Sekiro, man.
controversial. I'm just gonna say Persona 5, bro. I mean, I liked it 4 better. I mean, 5 was okay.
4 just had some bangers, man, like some of the music.
I liked it 4 better, dude. I ain't gonna hold you. But 5 definitely it at least elevated the dungeons, and it elevated the gameplay a lot more than going from 3 to 4. You know what I'm saying? So at least I saw a lot of differences in the gameplay. But I wouldn't put it up there in my top 5 just because of some of the things I didn't enjoy about it. The longevity of the ending, and going through mementos and having that same, as you guys kind of explained to me, because I didn't even notice it honestly until you saying. Now I can't get it out of my head. But that one song that kind of plays throughout there, having that soundtrack, it kind of is annoying. But really, it was just the fact that it felt similar in a lot of ways, but they elevated the one thing that kind of maybe was more outlandish to you, that you kind of had to run through the same kind of corridors, and it wasn't that fun. But I felt like the story in Persona 4 was much better. Maybe because I only played Golden. I don't know. But I played Golden.
It might have been better.
I thought it was significantly like a better story, in my opinion. But, that's just me. So
I skipped 5 off my list as well because it's a really good game and it improves a lot. But I still can't feel like it's the best Persona game. So it would be weird to say it's the best of the generation when I feel like they've done better. It mainly the story. Like overall, the game had quality of life improvements. The best Persona graphics that they've had. The characters were really good, but overall, it had a lot of structural problems. I guess they tried to fix that with Royal, which we haven't played, but I'm not about to spend another 100 hours on that game. So,
yes.
Oh well, you should get it right the first time.
You should have got it right the first time, buddy. But yeah, overall, pretty solid list. It ain't Square Enix heavy, so I appreciate that. I thought I was gonna at least see 2 more things. I thought you was gonna just
what other games they came out with?
I thought you was gonna throw in Tomb Raider for the fun.
Man, I ain't finna throw in Tomb Raider. I ain't finna put in Kingdom Hearts in that mug.
Man. I thought you was gonna have Kingdom Hearts 3 on here.
Heck no.
But I mean, it's a good list. Yeah. But all right. We come back to it. Let's get our list out there. I guess go with Josh first. Go ahead, Josh.
Man, I want to hear yours now. I'm finna gun your list down. I'm finna put the 40 at your list, man. I'm finna BBQ that mug
like a great.
He finna say God of War, Last of Us.
Oh my god. Don't disrespect me.
What else he finna put up there, man?
He got 3 Sony games on there for sure.
Man,
he finna say Uncharted.
Horizon.
He finna say AAA games only.
Um,
I'm gonna save my ammunition. And put it
yeah,
up real
I
quick.
thought about Bloodborne, but I ended up skipping it. I also skipped Dark Souls 3. Um, I enjoyed it a lot, but I feel like it's a I don't know. It wasn't the best in all cases, so I just skipped it. I didn't put Sekiro on there because I didn't finish it. I might go back to that game in the future, but I feel like it was a bad time for me to be playing that game because I couldn't focus on it. But what I did go with, of course, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Amen, amen,
uh,
amen.
just that was a highlight of the generation. That's Square Enix actually delivering on what people expect of them.
Square Enix boys.
And it set up like a good place for the future where I'm excited for the next game, which they had a lot of misses in the last couple years. Final Fantasy 15, I hated, and a lot of their other games. And Kingdom Hearts 3 was disappointing. So for them to actually deliver on this was a big deal. Of course, Breath of the Wild goes without saying. It was one of the best Zelda games they made, and I would say Nintendo's best game that they've made recently as well. What else I had on there? I had The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3, I feel like was the best of all the open world games that have come out. It had the best writing. I feel like it had a lot of characters or situations that you run into that were just very interesting and not copy and paste, where something like, Assassin's Creed might be a bigger, flashier world, but the characters and stuff are not, they're a lot more watered down. Ooh. I'll just go with my other Square Enix game, Final Fantasy 14, because I played that this year, and I didn't think that the story would be anything worthwhile. I just wanted a game that I can play and level up for a long time, but it had a really, really good story, and so good that I probably would say it's one of my favorite Final Fantasy games. So that was a surprise. And it still has more story coming out later this year, so I'm probably go back to it at some point. And my more controversial choices.
Man, you better not say no Warframe, bro.
Man, if you say
I ain't playing with you, so don't play with me, bro. I ain't trying to hear no Captain Board, no strength to the Ganir. I ain't trying to hear none of that, bro.
Are you finna say Warframe?
Man, you better not. I'm gonna get off this podcast right now.
I had to pick a game that I spent a whole lot of time on.
Oh my god!
And I was looking at Destiny, like, no, it can't be Destiny. Can't be Destiny 2. Can't be For Honor.
Man.
Can't be Rainbow Six.
All right, I'm finna go to bed, bro.
What game had a good story?
Oh my god!
Warframe. And that came out this generation.
Trash. Go ahead, bro. All right, go explain yourself. Go ahead.
Man, yeah, go ahead, be great, man. Go ahead, do your thing.
From when I first played it, when the PS4 came out, I didn't like it. And I went back to it later, and I didn't like it. And then when I finally went back to it the third time and I played through the story, then it made sense. And compared to other games around that time, Destiny 2 and Destiny 1, like, why can't Destiny deliver a good story like this? Obviously, y'all haven't got to the story, so y'all don't know. It seems like a big issue. I'm only picking Warframe because of its story and that it can be a big multiplayer game over 6-7 years and tell a decent story. Whereas Destiny, they got all the money in the world and they can't put their pants on and walk out the door. So
I ain't never heard that one before. Can't put their pants on.
That boy was holding out one for Destiny and Destiny alone. He said, boy, can't put your pants on.
Put your pants on, tie your shoes. Man, I don't know how, dog.
Put your pants on, tie your shoes, boy. Like, I don't know how.
Man, what you talking about?
All right, well, let's go through this. Okay, Breath of the Wild, Final Fantasy. We already talked about that, so we got some similarities. You said Witcher 3, right? Witcher 3 was the best. You said probably one of the most sound stories in an open world game. Honestly, I feel like they kind of did it right the first time. They did it right for in a lot of ways that kind of nobody else was kind of pioneering at the time. And they took a lot of ideas and they kind of manifested it all together. So I would give a nod to them and say I can't be mad at Witcher 3 being on your list at all. Final Fantasy 14 online. What you think about that, Jay?
I mean, I know a lot of people like that game. I don't think it's a bad game and stuff like that. I just don't. I just wouldn't play it because they banned my account. Like
They banned this account.
Like banned that mug, banished guy.
Don't think Square Enix boy didn't play that. They both played it. And he just got
man. You played it too. I ain't trying to hear that.
Man, I played it for 2 seconds. Boy, I was out of there. I was out of there.
Man, you was at the same level as us, bro.
We tried everything. While Josh was in Japan. So we played it, but man.
You finna have this jam in yours, bro. I already know.
Boy, you throwing them discs, hitting them curvatures. Man, you don't know my list, so don't even talk about it.
Man, you finna have Just Cause.
All right, and then
Days Gone.
he got Warframe.
I don't know if I would put that.
Man, I don't know, Josh. I mean,
I
hope I might have to just go look it up and have to talk to you about this after. But yeah, I mean, man likes what he likes. Can't say he can't like Warframe, but
hey Josh.
The loop.
I'm not saying it ain't got issues. I'm just saying that its highest highs throughout these last couple of years has been way better.
Yeah.
Hey,
and
Josh.
You can't name a multiplayer game that can compare.
Josh, keep going. No one knows you're here. Multiple biosignatures detected. We got infested.
Shake them JPEGs.
Man, they be shaking that screen harder than a mug. I'm surprised my TV ain't crack how hard them JPEGs be shaking.
Shake them JPEGs. Them loaded screens be funny.
They be going dumb.
All right, well, that's all the time we got here, guys. We go.
Nah, you ain't. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
I'm finna chop you up, bro. I'm finna let this thing.
I ain't did that, bro.
IGN top 10 list he got.
Yeah, whatever, dude. All right, so we got some similarities. All right. One of those is the Breath of the Wild. And let me tell y'all, because Karina wanted me to add this to her list. She said this is her list. She got 2 games. She got Breath of the Wild as well. And she got some Telltale, what's that? Walking Dead. She said that was one of her best generation games outside of Breath of the Wild.
Season 1, Season 2.
All of them. She said.
All of them. Oh, my God.
Wolf Among Us, all of that. She said that's her favorite game. Interactive storytelling. She enjoyed those the most. But she ain't a real gamer. But she played Breath of the Wild, so I had to give her some points there. But mine was Breath of the Wild. No particular order. So I did include Destiny 1. Just because of the fact that it's the game that kind of solidified us, as well as it was the game that kind of got the most of my time, and as well as it was the most fun I ever had in a game, period, over my lifetime. So Destiny 1 had to be in there. It definitely has a lot of flaws, but it was that game for me. I did include God of War, but God of War changed its mechanics fundamentally to the point where it did not feel like the same game, and it had more depth into it than it used to have that I enjoyed more. So, yes, it is a AAA game. Yes, it is action packed and in that, but I think God of War deserves the nod more than most of the other games, like Last of Us, like Ghost of Tsushima, like any of those AAA PlayStation games, just simply because they did the most creative things by having one camera motions, and they basically hid all loading screens, and they had a continuous shot throughout the entire game, and it was just unique in its play style, in my opinion. Even though it was over the camera, over the back camera, like all the rest of their games, this was the most unique. So I had to give them the nod for that. I also included Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on my list. I like 2 significantly more than
Oh, you like
1.
that
I
more than
haven't
one?
finished 1, but 2 is definitely a game I enjoyed, even though I hated the arts, like how they implemented, because the Switch is, a bad console in my opinion. It's not powerful enough, but I actually enjoyed Chronicles 2. It was a game that I actually
The
see
gameplay.
myself going back to finish and like get the DLC and kind of going through that. Even though I didn't finish all of that just yet, I think that's one of the games that I felt like stuck out in my brain over this 7-year period that I
Hmm.
enjoyed enough, and I actually was like, getting off work, wanting to get back into, and like getting off work, going to get back into, kind of like you in Persona and trying to figure out where the story was going to go. That's kind of how I felt with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And lastly, it's not controversial, but it's probably a game that y'all probably was like, it's a zombie game. It's Dying Light.
Man, I
uh,
told you. I told y'all,
Dying
didn't I?
Light.
Parkour,
I
parkour.
enjoyed Dying Light. Dying Light was very unique. Like, again, I like unique experiences, and that game was more unique than any other game that I played at the time. It was like parkour zombie, melee weapons and stuff like that, but it had such a unique spin on it, and they kind of even incorporated a lot of the storytelling in well, so it wasn't just a boring story. It actually had a pretty good story to it. Yes, it was a zombie game, but it had it had a unique play style to it, as well as it was just overall in general a pretty good company, and they kind of kept a ear to the community in that game, as well as how they updated it and added new things. They even added a battle royale to that game because of it. Because that company is just interested in making sure that community stays alive. But I enjoyed it because of the unique gameplay and how you was able to parkour in first person, and it had that Mirror's Edge mixed with Dead Island kind of feel to it. I enjoyed it a lot, so it got mine because that's the only game I went back and played and bought the DLC and kind of finished it through and then played it again. Just because, and when I bought it on my PC, because I thought it was just such a unique, had a dark and night cycle. It was like I'm sorry, a day and night cycle, where the night cycle was much more intense than a day cycle. It added so many unique mechanics at the time that I felt as if it deserved a top, in my opinion, a top 5. It wasn't a lot of stuff that wowed me this generation, but that game kind of sticks out in my mind as a game that truly shined in a lot of different ways. But that's my top 5. Like, again, it's Breath of the Wild, Destiny 1, God of War, Dying Light, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Go.
No, it's a decent list. I I struggle with Destiny because like I liked it a lot, but I feel like also how the game, I guess, changes over time kind of can like sour your opinion on it. Because I feel like we liked play Destiny a lot more and have fun in the beginning. Whereas like over time, balance changes and things like that make it feel like it's more frustrating. But I would say Destiny 1 was still a much more fun time than we had in any other multiplayer games that we played, especially Destiny 2. Um, God of War, I don't think me and Jalen played it, but it seemed like a decent game. And I like the old God of War games, and this one is more mature, so I can see, it's a pretty good choice, even though it's a safe choice. Um,
Yeah.
what was the other one? Dying Light, Breath of the Wild, and what was your last one?
Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh yeah, Xenoblade. Yeah, I like the gameplay of it, and I feel like that's a really good JRPG that came out. We have issues with like the characters or the art style, but I feel like overall it was a really good game as well. Um, did you finish two, right, Jayla?
Yeah, well,
Or you
technically I
played
got to the
enough
final
of it?
boss and I
Yeah.
got to the final phase and I died on the final boss and I was like, I ain't playing no more. I was like, I don't even care about playing that much no more, bro.
Yeah,
So yeah, I ain't really cared too much for it. It was an alright game. It just wasn't, you know,
it's understandable.
Warframe better than that game. Not just one.
Hey
Warframe
man,
better than Dying Light.
nah man, nah. I mean, like I said, because these lists are personals, it's interesting. But no, go ahead,
Yeah.
continue.
No, I didn't know Dying Light would make it on your list because I feel like you played that game a long time ago. Like,
Yeah.
Nah, I knew it was on his list. He bought it twice. I remember, didn't they come out a definitive version? I
Enhanced
said that
edition.
before that's what I'm saying. I
No, the
said that
following
before you even
edition. That's what
mentioned
it
it.
was called.
yeah,
Didn't I say that
you
today
played that
before
on
you
the
mentioned it?
original Xbox,
No,
right?
you ain't say Dying Light. No,
What I say? Days Gone?
Days Gone and some other
Oh,
shit.
okay. That's what I had meant. Yeah. But I remember because I used to come home from this and this dude playing. I'm like, dude, that game cannot be that fun. Like, what are you doing on that game? He always was playing Dying Light. I'm like, dude, stop playing that game, dude. Like, want that game a bust?
No,
Like,
it wasn't. Not in my
man.
eyes. It
Well,
had
I don't
unique.
think
It
it
was
was a
unique.
bust. I think it was like people expected more from the game. Like it had high expectations, but it ain't meet it. But it wasn't like a terrible game. I just remember you playing that game a lot. You was like, and I think I had came home one day from class, and I looked on the thing. It said Dying Light Enhanced. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm like, man, don't tell me they re-released this game and he bought it again, dude. It said enhanced on the PlayStation thing. I'm just like, man, this dude playing this game again, bro.
I had to get the DLC,
I'm like, man, all right, bro. We'll
and I
let you be
played it
great.
again. That game was fire, bro. But
Man, at least you ain't have what I was about to say, uh, Far Cry on that mug.
Far Cry,
Yeah,
Far
no, you
Cry
be
4 or
switching to
5, yeah, Primal, all that junk was trash. But I liked the Far Cry 3 was probably my favorite at this point. It still is.
What's that one? The one with that what's his name?
Voss,
Voss.
yeah, Voss on it. Voss was my favorite like villain, and like that was my favorite story. It was kind of definitely where they kind of changed and shifted into the Far Cry they are today, but it was the best implemented at that time.
Mm.
Maybe because it was fresh, but I think Voss just kind of brought a different spin to it. And I think he just delivered his message of crazy more. Maybe because we kind of repeating the same Voss formula. Maybe it got downplayed, and these people's performances were still really good. It just that wasn't like the first performance. I don't know, but in my opinion, Voss was the best one. I'm hoping this Far Cry 6. My man's from Bacon Brad. He's always been a good actor, but I don't think them tying a big name to the acting is really going to help, you know, resolve their another Voss problem. Hopefully they incorporate something new, but I think Far Cry 6 may be something special. Maybe I that's what I think. But yeah, I mean
How will
that's
you
my
be, sir?
list really. I think um I think we got some similarities. I think Breath of the Wild just deserves a notch at the top just because, bro. that game was revolutionary. I think it kind of hit the right marks with everybody, and that's kind of crazy for a game like that to do. Um, but I mean, obviously, you guys like Final Fantasy. I ain't played it, so I can't really justify putting it on a list or even talking about it more. But
That's number 2. You can put it on there.
I ain't got that ain't on my list. It's on y'all list.
That game
Um,
a bucket, bro.
I think the memory of Destiny 1 is what resonates with me the most, of what it kind of elevated our friendship a lot, and it kind of just was something that we was looking forward to doing all the time. It was like, if you ain't with your girl, or you ain't at the basketball, you ain't at at school, you playing Death Dog, and that was pretty much what it was. And I don't know, it was a weird time. I definitely played that game way too much, but
Yeah,
I
we
enjoyed a
is
lot of it. I ain't gonna hold you, but
we is in that mud, bro. All through
yeah,
the Black Shield, all through the
yeah,
Twilight Gap, Triple Void. I remember one time we had one. Dog, can y'all believe we used to be like, man, these dudes cheating, bro? No, we got with that Party Crasher +1 type boy.
Party Crasher, Matador 64, banging at their
Man,
door. What's up?
we is in that
Hey,
mud
Josh,
going
open up that
dumb.
door.
We used to be in, bro. We used to get straight to it. As soon as the thing, you hear that
Straight
little
to
blink
it.
noise,
We
that
wasn't playing
meow.
no games.
We is in that like,
Steamroll.
yeah, we here, nigga. We here.
Steamroll.
Yeah,
That was
we had one flawless that one time. We was just talking about some other stuff, and next thing you know, we was flawless. I'm like, man, we gods at this game, bro.
Yeah, we
We used to
wasn't
be in
even
that
thinking
mode.
about it. We were just playing, and we just kind of, oh, that's 7-7. Oh, that's 7 wins. Yeah, we going to the lighthouse. We did. We was like I said, that game had the most memories for me, so I had to get it. Even though at the end of it, it wasn't my favorite game no more. Destiny 2 definitely is a disappointment, but um, I think I think we're in a different space now where we can't do what we did previously, and I also think that they have changed so much that it has lost that feeling of Destiny 1 that it originally had, and it's now them trying to revert back to what it was before, which makes zero sense because you had the winning formula. You just had to tweak it properly and in a good way. For them to break it, it's kind of like, well, what was the point of you doing all that to try to get more people into the game, and then realize that the people you know, that was making that game live were the people that you neglected. So that's what I kind of don't like about Destiny at this point. But overall, I still got to get that notch.
Yeah.
I can understand why Jalen would put Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro on his list, just because of those games being, you know, very similar to his style of play. Tough boss battles, overcoming a hardship kind of deal. He enjoys that type of gameplay. I don't, but I get why. I get the appeal of it. I've played multiple Souls type games, and I understand the appeal of overcoming like a strong boss or whooping somebody quickly and, like, taking them down from 100 to 0 in like 4 or 5 slices if you got the right mechanics and magic. I think that's what kind of Jalen was looking for. If there was something different, what would you say was really stood out for you in these those Souls games?
Man, I mean, it's just a little like I feel like it's a thing that I can adapt to. The music be engaging, like the closeness, like the little too close for comfort, like type things.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, you seen when I was playing Kingdom Hearts on critical mode when I was fighting Lexaeus, boy, he is swinging that tomahawk, boy. They hit them reaction commands of the timing. Man, that adrenaline when you be fighting them bosses, dude, it be kicking in, dude. I don't like fighting like little cheap, like dumb bosses and stuff like that. But that adrenaline when you in them boss battles, man, that quick timing and every moment you can die and all that type of stuff, dude. That junk be
High
intense,
stakes.
man. High stakes, man. Them high stakes battles, you be I guess I got to start over, man. So all them Kingdom Hearts battles, them critical modes, and you know what I'm saying, trying to beat Sephiroth at level 40 on the first try without the Ultima and stuff like that. Man, them
Yeah.
them battles, man. That adrenaline, you get hit one time, you're like, dang, bro, I got to do it again. I got to be a perfectionist.
Yeah,
So
that's what Jalen calls fun. But no, I get it. I get it. And then we got Josh. He got some solid stuff on his. Again, it's the Final Fantasy 7, Breath of the Wild, Witcher 3, Final Fantasy 14 online, and Warframe is was blowing me right now. Obviously, he has a he likes those
Captain Vork.
continuations of
Leveling up,
games, and he likes leveling
RPGs.
up, grinding. Talk to me a little bit more about what stood out for these two games that you really enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of games that I skipped on that I wanted to put. Like, I like Dark Souls, I like Bloodborne, those games, because I feel like those are my type of games I like to play. Like, me and Jalen have a lot of overlap, but I don't know, they just for some reason weren't my favorite this generation
Mm-hmm.
because I like Dark Souls 1 more and stuff like that. I almost did Timefall 2, but I feel like we didn't play enough of the multiplayer for it to have a long lasting effect on me.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
yeah, I picked Final Fantasy 14, like I said, just because its story is really good. Like, it has a good ramp up of you fight these bosses, you level up, you get these abilities, but the story is also good the whole way through. So I feel like it's worthwhile to put the time and fight these hard bosses because it's worth it in the end. Um, Whereas Warframe, I would say like it's more basic, multiplayer game throughout most of its situation, and
Mm-hmm.
like leveling up and stuff is cool, but its strong point, it's probably the best multiplayer like shooter or multiplayer sci-fi story that we've played. Because like we played The Division, we've played um, Destiny, and all these other games, and they're cool. They have interesting things. Like you go to the Vault of Glass. Atheon's interesting, but he doesn't have a story. He doesn't have a backstory. There's nothing actually going on once you beat Atheon. Whereas I feel like Warframe actually delivers on that type of stuff, which is good if you're gonna spend a lot of time playing the game. It at least better give you a worthwhile story.
Yeah, no, and I truly understand that. I think the fact that these games are what stood out to us kind of showcases why we we have different perspectives on video games, and that's kind of what the unique thing about video games is, that you always can find something you're interested in when it comes to this stuff. So no, these some, like I
Overall,
said,
though,
these some solid lists. Go, what you say? Sorry.
I would say this was kind of a light generation as far as games that I really, really like.
Yeah,
Um, when I was looking back, I was surprised there's not as many games I would say were my favorite.
yeah, that's how I felt when I was looking back, and I was kind of like, that's why all these unique type games that I really enjoyed their implementation, or not their art style, but their gameplay and their mechanics within that. That's why I kind of give it to that nod to God of War, because again, I try to stay away from those type of games because they are really mainstream. Like Breath of the Wild, I understand why you get it. It doesn't matter if it's mainstream, but God of War is that game that's kind of like it showcased what you can really do with just one camera, and it showcased how people can tell a story from that perspective, and it worked well. So I mean,
Mm.
that's one game I would really suggest y'all just play it, and just play it, bro. But obviously y'all y'all stuck in y'all ways. But if
I
it was
played
one
it.
game I could get y'all to play, it would probably be God of War. But yeah. But
I'm
that's
surprised
pretty much
Jalen
our.
ain't gonna get Overwatch in there.
Oh, well, we just started getting back into that, and that was mostly you for the most part, at first at least. And then Jalen just got so infatuated with Ash and how she get them clean headshots that he can't put it down no more.
Man, you been there bucking, bro.
Yeah. But that's pretty much our time for this week. But again, we want to thank you guys for listening. This is the House of Wolves podcast. If you can, please rate us. Let us know what you guys think. I don't know if there is any comment sections in a podcast, but I just want to let you guys know we appreciate you listening, and we will talk to you guys on the next one.
Oh yeah, and don't give us a bad rating or nothing because Josh said Warframe. All right, like don't hold that against us.
Yeah, if anything, they're gonna be talking about Superman. But all right, thanks for listening. Talk to you guys in the next one.